Mississippi River, they're chairman of the Republican Party in Dyer County, and the last chairman of the Republican Party in Dyer County. And we carried Dyer County, which we never used to do. So our party has grown, and I bring that up for a reason. Bob mentioned the primary. People say to me, well, primaries are good for you. And I say, I'm thinking anyway, well, yeah, castor oil is good for you too. You don't really want to take it, but primaries are good for us. They're good for us because they open the door to new people. We have lots of new, Blount County, Knox County, we've got Tennesseans who are sixth generation, like seven, like I am, or we've got Tennesseans who are Tennessean by choice. And we want everybody to feel welcome in the Republican Party, and that's the way to do that. And we say to them, come on in, and we win, and then we support the winner of the primary. And that's how we've grown and been successful. Now, I knew that in this primary, so I was very careful. I didn't run one single negative ad on radio or television against anybody in the Republican primary running for the United States Senate. And I didn't even mention my opponent's names, because I knew that a primary is a family discussion. And after, sometimes family arguments get heated. And you don't want them to get too heated, because you want the family to be able to get back together. And that's where we are tonight. We're 2 weeks out from an election. I started the day in Nashville. Honey told me she heard on the radio that Knox County has, the voting is up in early voting in Knox County. Maybe more than most. I see Carolyn Jensen nodding here. There's a lot of interest here. And there's a reason for the interest here, because the primary is one thing. Now we have a real choice. We have a real choice. And the choice is, my opponent's one more vote for the Obama agenda, and I'm one more vote for a new Republican majority to lead us in a new, more conservative direction. That's the choice. My opponent's a very good lawyer. I said, we appeared at the Farm Bureau the other day together, and I said, he's the one you'd want. If you're convicted, if you're a cocaine smuggler and you're guilty, he's the one you'd want to hire to persuade the jury that you're not. And so he's going to try to fool people into thinking he's one thing when he's not. But he's a straight out vote for the Obama agenda. He's for Obamacare with a few modifications. I want to replace it as rapidly and responsibly as we can. He's pro-choice. I'm endorsed by National Right to Life. He's for more restrictions on guns. He has an F rating from the NRA. I have an A rating from the NRA. He's endorsed by the AFL-CIO. I spend my time in Washington trying to defend our right to work law, because that's the source of the auto industry moving to Tennessee. Every state north of us did not have a right to work law. We did. We had central location and good roads, and now 1/3 of our manufacturing jobs are auto jobs. And if that's not enough for you, the Washington Press did some look at his website and his speeches, and it turns out that he doesn't even have his own ideas. He copied whole paragraphs from the statements of the Democratic senators who support President Obama the most, and he put them on his own website as if they were his own. Elizabeth Warren, Sherrod Brown, without any attribution to them. That's called plagiarism. And Joe Biden had to get out of the presidential race in 1988 because of that reason. The Democratic candidate for the Senate in Montana had to get out for that reason this year. But even if you don't think that's a problem, here's the problem with it. It's proof positive that he's just one more cut and paste vote for the Obama agenda. The first vote he casts up there is, which way do we go? He's going to put his chair over there and sit down next to Harry Reid and cast one more vote to go in the same wrong direction. Now he says, well, I won't vote for Harry Reid, but he's sitting there next to him. He's voting for him or somebody else who's going to go that way. I'm going to be over here. So we don't like the direction we're going, hopefully with 6 or 7 or 8 Republican senators, and we're going to start down the path in another direction. And that's the difference. If my opponent were to be reelected, he wouldn't even have to go to Washington. They could just let Harry Reid vote twice. So I hope you'll say to Republicans and independents, however you may have voted in the primary, that's over. That was the family discussion. That was the family discussion. The choice now is stark and clear. Either it's one more vote for the Obama agenda or one more vote for a new Republican majority. Now, let me conclude what I'm saying by not talking about him or me, but so what would we do if we were in the majority? What would we do? What would we, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I enjoy politics. I enjoy the people I meet in it, and I've had a great time with that. But if that were all there were to it, I wouldn't be running for re-election. I'm running for re-election for the same reason Howard Baker ran in 1978. I talked to him about it. He was deciding, well, am I going to run for a third term? And he decided to do it. If you remember 1978, the country was in trouble. It was Jimmy Carter time. The military was disrespected. The inflation, all of that was going through the roof. And before long, all of a sudden, every night on Ted Koppel's show, it was day 71 in Iran, day 72 in Iran, day 73 in Iran. That was where we were as a country. Howard Baker ran for re-election his third term. Ronald Reagan was elected president. Howard became the majority leader. And I watched him carry the Reagan tax cuts over and hand them to Speaker O'Neill, the Democratic Speaker of the House. I watched him take Social Security and work with others to make it solid for 40 years. He accomplished that in his third term. Now, I won't be the majority leader. I don't want to be. But I would like to be a part of a new majority. And if I am, I'll be chairman of the Education Committee, the Labor Committee, the Health Committee, and the Energy Appropriations Committee. What does that do? That means that starting with education, I can take all those decisions that Washington is making right now about Knox County schools, starting with Common Core and teacher evaluation, and say, and take them out of Washington and send them back to Tennessee, and back to Knox County, and back to Blount County where they belong. Washington has That was my position when I was governor, and I asked President Reagan to get Washington completely out of elementary and secondary schools. That was my position as education secretary. And I said the Democrats were trying to create a national school board. And if I'm in the majority, I'll have a chance to end the national school board and put the responsibility back here. I'll have a chance to do something else. We went over to Pellissippi State today. Let me see if any of you know what this is. Now, if you're a farmer, you might think this is an EPA regulation. If you're a banker, you'll think this has something to do with Dodd-Frank. If you're a doctor, you'll think it has something to do with Obamacare. This is the form that 400,000 Tennessee families fill out every year to get a federal grant loan to go to college. It's 108 questions. There's an instruction book. And it discourages a lot of people from going to college. It wastes a lot of time of families who spend hours on this. It wastes a lot of time of university officials who ought to be working in education. It wastes a lot of time of the Bearden High School counselor who was at our meeting today, who would rather be helping students decide where to go to college instead of how to fill out question 76. What we found out on our committee was that all the people who look at this say, we don't need to ask all these questions. So Senator Bennett of Colorado and I have a bill to turn this into this. We're going to ask two questions. One is, what's your family size? And one is, what was the income you reported to the IRS last year? Now, why is that important to Tennessee? Well, Bill Dunn, Governor Haslam, the members of the General Assembly, a Republican majority, have said if we want better jobs, to be better educated. And to do that, we want more students to have a chance to go to at least 2 years of college. We're not just talking about 16 and 18 and 19-year-old. We had a 50-year-old woman who's at Mississippi State today was on our panel. 30% of the community college students are above age 24. But every one of them, Bill, who is eligible for tuition-free under Tennessee Promise, has to fill this out. And the president of the community college in Memphis said he loses 1,500 students every year because they don't want to fill it out. Their families look at this, they may not have been to college, they're discouraged about it. Now, this takes our political activity sort of into the street. This is one of the reasons I think we're involved in politics. It's not just to get is to do something after we get elected. The governor has them, and our Republican majority said, all right, we're going to help our students go to community college. And in Pell City State, the applications are up twice this year over last year. In Upper East Tennessee, they're up 3 times over last year, but they all have to fill this out. And so what I can do, if I have a chance to do it as part of a new majority, is turn this into this and make it easier for Tennessee to achieve its goals of a better educated workforce